Transformation time, for transition time, for the people we serve from benefits of reliance. Rwamirama Hillary program, nimaliza siku nyingi tutasaidia, tukiwafundisha vitu.
On behalf of the Minister of Agriculture, as you've heard, the agriculture is the center stage for food systems. So government through Minister of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries pledge to support refugees and host communities to feed themselves and also to have enough nutrition security and income for their families. It has been observed that the donation from UN agencies and development partners has been going down, and yet the refugee numbers are increasing. So government, together with partners, developed this program to make sure that both the refugee and host communities benefit from this. This is mainly to reduce refugee and host community conflict. So, as you have heard from my senior colleague, we have launched this program here in Isingiro, and all other refugee settlements will follow. Amid this climate change that is causing a way that actually is characteristic manifesting in weather-filled conditions, is that we are going to support the refugees and host communities by providing irrigation, high-yielding varieties, extension services. As you notice that today, Minister of Agriculture has so many representatives here from different participating groups. So we are using science, application of science to increase efficiency in our production system so that we can enrich food system for food nutrition security and household incomes.
We pledge that since not enough relief is coming now to support the refugees, and the refugees are living side by side with the host communities, we introduce a program for self-reliance. The little resources that come to our country to support the refugee program, we now make it available to the refugees and host communities to become more productive and be able to become self-reliant, be able to feed themselves. Because the previous model has been the World Food Program with big stores, as you can see. There, they bring food there and the refugees are given handouts and they didn't need to work. But we are saying today the refugees must work and produce their food. The food they eat, they must produce most of it. If there is anything additional, the World Food Program brings them, those will be just small additional. But the main thing would be to make them produce their own food. So this is a program we have launched today in Isingiro, and it will be now, from Isingiro, it will now go to all other refugee settlements that we are holding in Uganda, so that they all adopt the same that we have done in Isingiro today. So that is what we have been talking about. Of course, we made other comments about our Uganda being, globally is a leading country in hospitality, in being kind to refugees and compassionate to refugees and sympathizing with people who are suffering. So that one is being recognized globally. When you go to international forum, they think Uganda is the best country that looks after refugees better than any other country in the world. And they are coming to us here to learn from us, how do we then look after them? It has to come from the heart, because sometimes they want to imitate, but then what do you imitate if it doesn't come from your heart? We want their community also to become compassionate and understand and appreciate and support people who suffer, like Uganda does. That is brought broadly what we were trying to explain here today.
Honorable, does this mean that humanitarian assistance is going to stop completely?
It will not stop. It will be there, but now it is less. It's not as much. For example, if refugees used to eat 3 meals a day, today they are only affording to eat 1 meal a day. So they have to work and produce the balance so that they can eat at least 2 to 3 meals a day.
World Food Program representative and country director for Uganda, and we're very pleased to launch self-reliance model in Isingiro today with the presence of the ministries and ambassadors and other international community. As explained to you by the ministries, the idea is to help the community, not only the refugees, but also the host community to become self-reliant. World Food Program has been providing support both in terms of food and cash to the refugees. Over 1.5 million refugees are getting assistance from World Food Program, and as we speak, we are still receiving more refugees that are coming from DRC, South Sudan, and even Sudan, which is not even bordering with Uganda. We are getting refugees, and WFP is providing support to the refugees. Many people have heard that WFP have reduced the rations. That's true. We're not providing the required 100% ration to the refugees because of dwindling resources. But WFP will continue whatever resources that we have to the refugees. This project is basically complement the ongoing Saving Lives project, and we want to help the refugees as well as the host community to learn how to depend themselves, to learn how to become self-reliant. Most importantly, we will be undertaking, financial inclusion courses. We will be undertaking a lot of trainings for changing the mindset, and also social protection for the elderly people, as well as pregnant and lactating mothers. So this is not intended to be replacing the ongoing project. It's not. It is complementing it. WFP is planning to target 100,000 persons over the next 3 years program, and that's why we are happy that some of the donors like Ireland and Norway have provided assistance and support to this self-reliance program. So obviously it is a success. We know that this is the way forward. As you've heard, many of you have heard the Chinese proverb of instead of giving a fish every day, it's better that you teach the people how to fish it. And that is all about the self-reliance. People will be we will be working with the people who want to work on agriculture, those who want to work on non-agriculture, those who want to work on a non-farming project, projects. So it's a variety of projects that will be under the self-reliance. But this cannot be done without the support of the government. And we are very grateful to the government of Uganda who really supported us today. It is a testament today that the State Minister of Agriculture was here, Minister of Refugees was here, ambassadors was here, and many other donors.
As we kickstart the journey of moving our people, especially the refugees, from dependence on food assistance to self-reliance through deliberate actions that will reinforce their resilience and empower them to make the right decisions for their families. This is transformational, not only for us, but for Uganda as well. Through assessments and community engagements conducted with refugees and the host communities, we have allowed the beneficiaries themselves to determine what actions or support are needed to transition them from dependence to self-reliance. About 4 main barriers were identified. The first is limited access to financial services. The second is limited access to markets. The third is limited access to land. And the last one is smart climate change. In response to these concerns, the self-reliance model that we are celebrating today was developed and is packaged with several components to address these challenges. The first component is mindset change and social empowerment. You will see them from here. We have them displayed right next to me here. The mindset change and social empowerment aim at motivating and inspiring refugees to appreciate the benefit of becoming self-reliant, challenging them to eventually chart their own course through pathways that will realize their desires. We are working with CIOTA and Unleashed, two refugee-led organizations, and I'm happy to report that about 90% of the targeted groups have undergone mentorship and coaching sessions in the last 3 months. Over 30 mindset change champions from both refugees and host populations have also taken up the mantle to inspire others to become self-reliant, using skills, knowledge, and other capabilities they may have. The second component is the livelihood promotion and diversification. This will involve active engagement in on-farm, off-farm, and non-farm market-based activities for income generation. Thanks to the government of Uganda that has availed to us over 1,600 acres of land for this initiative in both West Nile and the Southwest. To realize this component, WFP is working with Hunger Fighters Uganda and Ripple Effect in the Southwest, while we are also working with World Vision and For Africa to Thrive in the West Nile area. The third component is social protection. This component will specifically target vulnerable pregnant and breastfeeding women and the elderly through the provision of supplementary funds to meet and sustain their food and nutrition needs.
Ladies and gentlemen, My name is Mr. Sherubale Paul Ali Pauni, the head of sub-office UNHCR Mbarara, covering the Southwest and the Middle West. On this strategic priority, we have the three pillars. One, we say the advocacy. Second, the partnership. And the third is the coordination. Why advocacy? Advocacy because we want all to create an environment where refugee economic inclusion is part of self-reliance of refugees and the host community who are welcoming them in Uganda. Partnership also because we want jointly with other UN agencies and the partner to work together so that we focus on self-reliance of refugees and host community. And then the coordination, why? Because we know that many actors are working on livelihood, but so far the impact is not so big because of disparities of objectives, so that we need to strengthen the coordination mechanism to ensure delivery of results and identity local needs for joint advocacies. Those priorities are somehow related to the WFO self-reliance model, which we link with in 4 components of that WFO resilient model. The first is the digital financial inclusion. The second is the livelihood promotion and diversification. The third is the social empowerment. And the third is the social protection. I know my colleague from WFO may explain this better, but me, I will just cite those 4 pillars. In addition of that, UNHCR and WFP signed the letter of understanding which specifies how UNHCR and WFP will collaborate to achieve 2 main objectives. First, to strengthen the livelihood of refugees while ensuring that basic food and nutrition needs are met. Second, work with government of Uganda and host community and humanitarian and development partner to create an enabling environment that will allow refugees to use their livelihood assets to contribute to greater self-reliance. To realize those objectives, UNHCR and WFP will focus on 4 main steps. First, UNHCR and WFP will collaborate to assess the self-reliance context, examining vulnerability and capacities, and analyzing opportunity and the constraints of refugee and host communities. Second, on the basis of this assessment, UNHCR and WFP will collaborate to develop self-reliance programs that provide realistic goals and context-specific pathways for improved livelihood that contribute to achieving greater self-reliance. Third, UNHCR and WFP will collaborate to advocate self-reliance solutions and engage in joint resource mobilization for implementation of self-reliance programs.
Will help us create a change in the lives of the refugees. With the very limited time that we have, I want to welcome you again. We are very honored as a team in Oruchinga, as a team in the Southwest to host you, and we look forward to further deliberations that will cause positive change in the lives of our persons of concern.
I was recently in Yumba, in the BDD refugee settlement, and I was impressed to see how refugees were able to use the support they were given to take care of themselves and their dependents, and thereby gaining self-confidence and pride. Protection of refugees and a comprehensive approach to refugee situations will continue to be a priority in Norway's international engagement.
I thank the Office of the Prime Minister for their work in the refugee response, and to the district local government for hosting refugee settlements here in this district. It is here on the ground at a local level that the relationships are so important, and you can see the relationships here in the district. Can I thank the wider family of the UN, led by the resident coordinator, but can I particularly thank WFP and your implementing partners for being at the front of transition and self-reliance. Ireland took interest in this, and it is now captured in our strategy from 2023 to 2007, and a focus on this livelihood will be a key partnership, or a key of our next partnership. Last year we contributed about 8 billion shillings to WFP to kickstart this programme, and we were very happy to be and proud to be part of this. The launch of the self-reliance model by WFP is timely in the face of global challenges due to many crises, as my colleague mentioned, and competing priorities. But I believe this model, if implemented well, will promote diversification and alternative livelihoods together with financial inclusion for both refugees and host communities. It is in line with the government's commitment to a comprehensive refugee response framework and providing opportunities for refugees and host communities to progressively sustain themselves through income generation activities that ultimately contribute to greater self-reliance. It is good direction. It avoids dependency and challenges between refugees and communities. I recognise that the refugee response in Uganda is much stretched, and even as the demands continue, but I'm proud that Ireland is one of our first supporters of this World Food Programme self-reliant model. And we are happy to continue our long history of collaboration to meet refugees' needs here in Uganda, and funding will give our partners the ability to build refugee self-reliance, but also to support host communities. Being both a host and donor community, Ireland understands the need for action and more global solidarity in refugees worldwide. In this context, we humanitarian and development actors alike must continue our efforts to build resilience rather than perpetuate humanitarian assistance without taking into account and strengthening local capacities. We work in the spirit of partnership. Lastly, I'd like to thank the refugees themselves for all the hard work and taking up the challenge of becoming self-reliant.
Some refugees have skills, but they are living at homes. Then we have got that this lady has produced this oil, which grows the hair in 1 week. And the other has produced this cosmetic, you put in fire and smoke is very, very in-house. And also, we dine clothes, we decorate like this. In this business, we have made 280 profit in 2 months. In that money, we succeed to send 10 children who are dropped out from the school in 5 families who have been cut from the food ration. And that children now are going to school. The other thing, I've realized that some cultures are norms, discriminate ladies, and they say ladies cannot do what man can. In that sense, I've created another group in Rwanda, which are 37 women. And I've asked them in these lessons of mindset changing, there is one which talks about culture and norms. What can we say? They say we can do what man can. I say, let me see. They have built an office, and that office they used different purposes. The first one is to have meeting or to train themselves.
But after this empowerment and the mindset empowering session from CIOT and WFP, it really changed on how I was thinking. Now I think that my children should study, and I think I should sponsor them up to university. And through this empowerment, I started having a short, or I started up a short business of selling matoke or bananas so that I would sponsor myself and see how to sponsor my children.
Iyo business rero impa kwisevinga agasente.
Through this business, I am able to save little money.
Nihintego yuko nibura ngomba kugura ihene ebyiri mu mwaka nkazaba mfite ihene 10 ubu ebyiri zo maze kuzigura ziri mu rugo.
My goal this year is having 2 goats which I have, but achieving 10 by the end of the year.
Zanje namaze kumva ko ngomba kuzazibyaza umusaruro nkaziguramyo inka mu gihe cy'imyaka 6. Iyo niyo vision ifite. Mu myaka 6 hamaze kugura inka 3 z'amata.
My vision in 5 years is that through this investment of goats, it will lead me to have 3 cows in the next 6 years.
Baba bakanywa amata n'abaturanyi ndetse nkatangira no gufata ku gasenge konza abacuruzi y'amata umutungo wanjye kwiyongera.
Through those cows that I'll be having, my children will be getting in the milk, neighbors, but also I'll be able to sell and have more investments.
Bityo rero mwumva ko intego yanjye nzayigeraho byanze bikunze kandi birashoboka ko byose bishobokera uwizeye.
Through this empowerment, I now believe that I'm able to reach this vision and achieve what I'm planning to achieve.
Self-reliance model is a 3-year project that focuses on areas including livelihood promotion and diversification, positive mindset development, sequencing and laying of activities. And all these will be exhibited through the following Honorable Minister. One is we shall have these activities exhibited on farm and non-farm income generating activities, cash assistance to refugees, hosting communities, pregnant, breastfeeding mothers, and the youth. Another one is expanding the senior citizen grant to refugees aged 8 years and above, among others. Our chief guest, all the above mentioned planned activities and many reliance model are in line with the government of Uganda's different interventions to enable our countrymen and women meet their needs as they generate their own income. This has been built on previous experience of youth livelihood program, set and parish development model, among many others, as always championed and guided by His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda. To World Food Program, as the government, we are very appreciative of your continuous cooperation and support so far rendered to the livelihood, resilience projects, and general food assistance interventions. We want to thank you so much, World Food Program, and I want to request the community that you also join our hands and give them a big clap. As the office of the RDC and the entire district leadership, we pledge continuous support, participation, sharing experience, feedback, improved coordination, and harmonization of this self-reliance model significant intervention. Honorable Ministers, our chief guest, lastly, allow me to the benefiting households, self-reliance is not about rejecting help, and this goes directly to you, both the host communities and refugees. Self-reliance is not about rejecting help or support from others, but being able to help ourselves first before seeking help from others. I think I'm clear on that. We need to empower you. That is the target of self-reliance model. It is about having the confidence and skills to solve our own problems and make our own decisions. We are looking at a situation that will enable you to make your own decisions. So, with this intervention, let us all strive to live a life of purpose, meaning, and fulfillment. This will enable us to be independent, confident, and responsible individuals who can contribute positively to our society.
I'm very pleased that World Food Program and the government of Uganda, in collaboration with the UNHCR, OPM, and other partners that have been mentioned here, have developed and piloted a self-reliance model that aims at addressing these challenges I have mentioned above in a holistic and sustainable manner. The model is based on the market-oriented, pathway-based approach that integrates the layers and sequences a range of activities that promote social cohesion, economic empowerment, mindset change. You heard Lucius saying, talking about mindset change. Mindset change, social protection, livelihoods, and digital financial inclusion. The model targets 70% of refugees and 30% of nationals, recognizing that self-reliance requires the lifting of not only the households but also communities and the host communities. For us as the host communities, we are very happy with this program because it tackles both the refugees and the host communities, and I think this one will improve the standards of living of our people. The launch of this self-reliance model in Oruchinga refugee settlement is timely and relevant intervention that aligns with the government of Uganda's commitment to support comprehensive refugee response framework, which seeks to transform the refugee response from the humanitarian and development-oriented approach. It also implements the existing efforts of the district local government and other stakeholders to improve the living conditions as well-being of the refugees and host communities in Isingiro. I want to finally thank the World Food Program. You can clap hand for World Food Program, my brothers and sisters. The government of Uganda. When I talk of the government of Uganda, it is none other than NRM government, Honorable Minister. So I want to thank the NRM government led by our Excellency General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni for this initiative and innovative. I continue to thank OPM and all other development partners, our political leaders. Honorable Minister, I know, is here to deal with us. I want to thank him for the effort that at least he has tried at his level best to support the refugees and host communities. And the technical staff, I urge all the stakeholders to support its implementation and scaling up. I also call upon the refugees and host communities to actively participate in the self-reliance model and seize the opportunities it offers to improve their livelihoods and lives. As the district chairman, you have heard that I'm the district governor. It is very true, Honorable Minister, I'm a governor, because this district is one of the biggest districts in Uganda. And I want also to remind you that this is a hard-working district. We have been performing very well for the last 3 years. Number one, in as far as the assessment is concerned from the office of the Prime Minister. Those who understand that, you can grab part for it. So if you don't understand it, you can't grab part. I believe that together we can make the difference and create a bright future for the refugees Honorable Minister, I myself and the RBC as leaders, we have tried our level best to help these refugees at least to be okay. We have tried our level best to see at least we minimize and we reduce the conflicts between the refugees and the host communities. As I talk now, at least they live in harmony, there is peace in both the refugees and the host communities. As leaders, we are not complaining at all.